I think what I would consider first is, what is my learning objective with respect to the online components or the outside of class components? And then how are they linked to a classroom activity that has a clear, demonstrable impact on the students, that is a clear goal for the students to accomplish and achieve? I think that, for me at least, the key challenge for us when we were designing the course is, what are the students actually going to be doing in the class? I mean, it's easy to say we're going to open up space for student engagement and group work and more interaction with faculty members, but what are students actually going to be doing? Are they just going to be talking? To what end? To what purpose? So for me, it's the synergy between the online component and the objective, the goal, the product, if you like, of the student interaction in the classroom. That's the key thing to resolve. What are you trying to achieve?
So what I did to make sure that the face-to-face and the online components fed back to each other, supported each other, was having regular check-ins. So the first two classes within the course, the first 2 weeks, of course, were face-to-face. I really wanted to get to know the students. It could be challenging because of the ad drop date. Some joined after that, but to be able to get to know them. And then trying to set it up really well before we have our first fully online week with no face-to-face class, making sure that I've walked through the course site, that I've walked through discussion board with the students. I brought in our learning services team to talk to the students, to let them know about any kind of tech support resources we have. I brought in our Canaccord Learning Commons librarians to talk about research strategies, because there would be some assignments they would be asked to do while they were online and not face-to-face with me. I made sure that they knew about my virtual office hours, that they could book appointments, they could come and have a face-to-face meeting with me. So there was more administration involved in that first face-to-face class before the first online week. So that last one before we kind of let loose and went online. And then when we were online, I set up a very clear website that mapped out deliverables, requirements. There was flexibility in the course design. You could complete material at your own pace, but within certain staging points to allow everyone to be at the same point when we came back face to face again. That we would have all completed the same work by that point, and that I could build an engaging face-to-face class that would build on everything that they had done. So certain expectations that they were prepared to start at that face-to-face class together. And then, of course, repeat the cycle. So we'd have a face-to-face class and then a couple weeks where we might be online, and making sure that at the end of that face-to-face class, they're clear, we're set up, what are the expectations in the next 2 weeks when we're not here together. And then other things I did just to make sure that their group projects, for example, would progress, is I would try and give time in class when I could, 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, for them to connect with their group mates. If it were a commerce course, a solder course, it wouldn't have mattered as much because they would see each other in the hallways. But because when they left our classroom, I knew that they were going to go to all points of the campus, some of them going back to their co-op work terms. This might have been the only course they were taking. I wanted to make sure they had time to sit down, get to know each other and their teams a little bit better, and set up their work plans as well. So that was built into every class. So just different ways to make sure that they were set up for the online weeks, and then staging their workflow when it was flexible, so that they were prepared to come back together. And then I also let them know, I didn't have to do this, but I let them know that if I found that at any point they were struggling with a course concept, maybe I saw it in a pre-assessment that they did, some type of online quiz, or a discussion board had particularly low participation, or students were missing the mark on a particular discussion topic, that I would be calling a class. And so at any time they had to be ready to come to class, with some notice of course, but set aside that time throughout the term. And you never know, we might have a meeting where I'd call a class and say, okay, we need to regroup this, we're missing the mark on this concept. But I didn't have to do that because they kept up really well.